Senator, we've been in this shutdown now for weeks. I think pain is increasing for a lot of people, particularly federal workers who have not been paid at all. How dire do you see this November 1st cutoff in terms of what it's going to mean for, again, tens of millions of American recipients of SNAP?
Chris, I really think that many folks don't fully appreciate the horror that we're looking at right now. Trump's war against the working class and low-income people is literally unprecedented. At a time when tens of millions of people are just hanging in, trying to feed their families or pay their rent or pay for health care, what we're looking at right now is some 20 million people seeing a doubling in their health insurance premiums. In my state of Vermont, we're hearing that people are looking at a tripling or a quadrupling of their health insurance premiums. Shortly, we're going to be seeing, if we don't prevent it, which we must, 15 million people losing their health insurance because of Trump's massive cuts to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act, which studies suggest will result in the deaths every year of some 50,000 Americans. And now, on top of all of that, when there is a contingency fund put in by Congress to provide emergency funding during a shutdown for SNAP, for food stamps, et cetera, something that was on the website of the Department of Agriculture 2 weeks ago. They deleted it. And now what Trump is saying is we're not going to provide SNAP benefits to over 16 million children, their parents, and their grandparents. So as you just seen in the brief interviews that your reporter did, you're going to see families literally in the richest country in the history of the world, where the wealthiest people have never had it so good. Millions of people are going to say, how am I going to feed my children? This is unspeakable.
Yeah, I was texting with someone who works at a food bank today, actually, talking about they're already seeing it, right? There's a kind of preparatory move as people start to prepare for this. I want to just confirm the point you made about these contingency funds. I don't want to get too in the weeds here, but there's $5 billion in a contingency fund. This is from the U.S. Department of Agriculture's own website, dated September 30th. Its lapse of funding plan, and I'll read just one sentence here. These multi-year contingency funds are also available to fund participant benefits in the event that a lapse occurs in the middle of the fiscal year. That was on the website just 2 weeks ago. The Trump administration has said that the shutdown gives them ability to go after what they call Democrat programs. So Trump has said this many times. Russ Vought has said this. You guys, meaning you Democratic senators and Democratic representatives, are going to be upset because we're going to go after your guys' stuff, and that SNAP is in that category. What do you say to that?
I mean, look, what can you say? It is beyond disgraceful. It is beyond outrageous. Feeding hungry children is a Democratic proposal, really? But I want to give you some good news, and it's not just that some 26 attorneys general all over the country have gone to court to prevent Trump from doing this, and I think they have very strong legal grounds. As you just indicated, Congress has appropriated this money. It is there, and the Trump administration is refusing to spend it. But maybe more significantly, Chris, 11 Republicans in the United States Senate have signed on to legislation introduced by Senator Hawley, which would extend the SNAP program. And that is the first time. Not only is that the right thing to do from a moral perspective, it is the very first time that we have seen that many Republicans finally breaking away from Donald Trump and having the courage to do the right thing. So I hope, by the way, that with every member of the Democratic caucus and 11 Republicans, that's something like 58 members, saying we want to extend in a bipartisan way this program, I hope that Majority Leader Thune will have the decency to put that legislation on the floor. And if he does, I'm confident we'll get over 60 votes. So let's do the right thing. And the other thing that has to happen is Mike Johnson, unbelievably, has given a now 6-week paid vacation.
When states spend their own money under our bill,
under the Democratic bill,
right, which we invite Republicans to join, it should be bipartisan. We would reimburse states for taxpayer money that's spent to feed kids and families. And also the WIC program, which, as you know, deals with younger children and moms. But I think the important point here, Michael, is neither of these bills should be necessary.
Right.
The administration has the authority and the funds to do it on their own. And the reason they are not doing it is simply to cause more pain to people who are the most vulnerable. And in the state of New Mexico, for example, where Senator Lujan is from, 21% of his constituents depend on the SNAP program. In Connecticut, it's a lower percentage, but still very significant, 1 out of 10. This program is a lifeline, and the administration simply wants to cause more suffering to people. It's cruel and it's stupid because kids who are hungry can't learn. Families who are worried about putting food on the table can't be productive. And it's simply a self-inflicted wound.
If I could, can I do a quick follow-up on that? As Senator Schumer said, you had 11 Democrats signed on to the Hawley bill right now, including himself. This bill is a new piece on the table. Where is the win here? How do we sort this out? I get your point about the president. He's checked out. This is just for him a sort of a parlor game on the, revolving around the lives of real people. But as elected officials, you're trying to fix the problem. Where do you see a win here if you've got Democrats already lining up or having lined up with the Hawley bill, and now you have the Lujan measure, which some would say maybe inject some politics, maybe inject some confusion, which is why I wanted a clarification of the two bills from the beginning.
Well, the win here is to avoid families going hungry and kids particularly. But the ultimate win is to preserve health care. That is to have the health care tax credits extended past the end of the year, when right now they will expire. And for families in Connecticut,
November 21st, by the way, right?
No, the tax
credits.
Well, look, I think there's two things here. Well, many things, actually. But the tax credits are about to expire by the end of the year. November 21st, the continuing resolution that the House passed a little over 30 days ago, that continuing resolution only funds the government through November 21st. And so I don't understand why you all are still voting on, and why Republicans are asking you all to vote on a measure that won't fund the government for more than a couple weeks, yet the government doesn't want to give the funds for SNAP that will keep SNAP open for another couple of weeks. It's about $8 billion a month, according to NPR, to fund the SNAP program, and there's about $6 billion in the reserve. Make it make sense.
You would be forgiven for wondering why, once again, Donald Trump is creating confusion and chaos. But that seems to be the trademark of his administration. And he could eliminate all of these questions by simply saying to Republicans, you have a green light to extend the tax credits for health care coverage, which expire at the end of the year, past that end of the year. But the reason why it's so urgent, Simone, is that families in Connecticut and in every state where there is the ACA are making decisions right now about buying health insurance. And in that open enrollment, they're looking at the prices and they're seeing it's going to cost them literally double or triple. A family of 4 making $130,000 goes from $1,000 to $3,000 or $4,000.
Senators are mobilizing against Donald Trump. You're seeing it with Democrats mobilize against his cuts to SNAP and to other basic essentials. And there are some estimates, guys, that with the healthcare premiums going up, that some people will see their premiums rise by $4,000 a month, not a year. And again, a year is a lot, right? $4,000 a year. Who has enough money to pay $4,000 a year for extra healthcare? Millions of Americans don't. Maybe probably a majority of the country probably can't afford an extra $300 and some a month for healthcare alone, right? But put that aside, $4,000 for some people. It was like a couple who is in their 60s and they make, $80,000 a year or something, and their premiums would go up for. It's like they would literally go bankrupt because of it. And that's not them having a catastrophic health issue. That's just their premiums going up. Now, let's be clear, there's that, but then there's also Republicans. They passed a vote in the Senate today with Democrats and 4 Republicans voting to end Trump's tariffs. Now, we should be clear, that vote is a symbolic one, but it's still a rejection of Donald Trump's law. It's the Senate saying, we want to block this. And hypothetically, the House could vote with it too. You could maybe get some momentum. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen, especially because the House is shut down right now. But it showcases that a lot of Republicans oppose Trump's tariffs. And there's a whole bunch of cowards on their side of the aisle. So if 4 Republicans, and I believe it was Murkowski, Collins, McConnell, and Rand Paul, right? So not necessarily big surprises about who the 4 were, but they're not the only 4 Republicans that hate the tariffs. And especially hate not just the tariffs, but how insanely they've been implemented. So this is only kicking off. Donald is ruining the main reason he got elected, which was lowering the cost of living for regular Americans. He's making food more expensive, he's making healthcare more expensive, and it's only going to get worse.